And now a man to whom the UCF Research Group owes very much, the founding manager of the Archie Carr National Wildlife Refuge, Paul Tritaik. He just was invaluable in the development of our research program and gave us all the help he ever could every time we needed it.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you for inviting me. And Vince, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. Thank you, Jeremy and Kate, for hosting us, and Aquarina for providing the space. I think back on my first introduction to Archie Carr, and I shared this story last year at the 25th anniversary celebration of the Archie Carr Refuge, so bear with me. But I think it deserves repeating that my first introduction was at a sea turtle symposium that I was attending as a spectator, and just an interest in sea turtles. And there was a petition going around asking for signatures to support the creation of a new National Wildlife Refuge. I think this was in 1989. And I signed it, of course, in the hopes that this new refuge would be created and named in honor of Dr. Archie Carr. Little did I know that I would be asked to manage that refuge several years later. And so, as the new refuge manager for this new National Wildlife Refuge, which was an add-on to responsibilities for managing our oldest National Wildlife Refuge, Pelican Island, when I was hired in 1993, I wanted to learn a little bit more about this special man that a refuge was named after. As Doc had mentioned, that wasn't a very common practice at that time. And so, obviously, the work that he had done with sea turtle biology and conservation was legendary. He obviously inspired legions of scientists to follow his path, some of whom are here: Annie Malin, Peter Pritchard, Doc Earhart, and all of their students. And the scientific community owes a great deal of gratitude. But I discovered that his importance was more than that. So I picked up some of his books and read them. So Excellent a Fish, Windward Road, and Ulendo. And I discovered that he was able to captivate the imagination of the reader, take them along with him on his quest to solve the riddle of the Ridley, or help recover generations of green turtles, or just discover the wonders of the natural world wherever he traveled. And he did that in such a compelling fashion that I think it garnered an appreciation for wildlife and wilderness in general. He obviously galvanized an interest in sea turtles, both from a scholarly standpoint, but also from a popular standpoint. And I think having this National Wildlife Refuge named in his honor would be something that he would, I think, be appreciative of, merely from the standpoint, as Jeremy mentioned, that this refuge is the result of a partnership, a great partnership between universities and governmental agencies, federal, state, county, and local citizens and conservation organizations, all working together to not only advance the knowledge of sea turtles, but their conservation and protection. And not only for the protection of the nesting beaches, which are so vitally important for the 3 species of turtles that Doc mentioned, but also for the other habitats that make up this coastal ecosystem: the coastal strand, the coastal scrub, the maritime hammock. And through this partnership, we've been able to protect a lot of that habitat in this coastal ecosystem for the benefit of all of the wildlife that live here. And I think that would be something that he would be pleased about. I never got to meet Dr. Carr, obviously, but I have been fortunate to at least been introduced to his universe through associations with his family and friends, with you all, and Chuck Carr, who I've met several times, fortunately, and his brothers, David and Tom. First time I met, I believe, was at that sign dedication. I don't know if you remember that, when we had that big brown Archie Carr National Wildlife Refuge sign with all the land management partners listed on there. But I'll never forget the time that I got to meet their mother, Archie Carr's wife, Marjorie Harris Carr. It was shortly after I was hired in January 1993, and my first job was to help plan and prepare for the 90th anniversary celebration of Pelican Island. And I thought, well, this is also a good opportunity to highlight this new refuge called Archie Carr. So I looked at the guest list and I noticed there really wasn't, anybody there, associated with Archie Carr. And so I asked, well, can we invite Marjorie, and do you think she would come? And so he said, well, can't hurt to ask. So we invited her, and she came. I was really pleasantly surprised that she was able to come. She was not in the best of health at that time. This was in March 1993. So she traveled, I believe, from Micanopy to Sebastian, not only, in not the best of health, but also during the storm of the century. I mean, this was the weekend where we had what was called the storm of the century, caused us to move our event that was planned outdoors to an indoor venue, and all of that, she still wanted to be there. And so I had the opportunity to meet her, and I was surprised. She said, "It's good to meet you, Paul. I've heard many good things about you through a mutual friend." And I was like, wow. And she said, "I'm really happy that you were picked to be the manager of this refuge, named after my husband." And so I never forgot that moment, and it stuck with me. And I always wanted to give Archie Carr National Wildlife Refuge as much attention as I could to and I think it's important that we strive to live up to the ideals of our conservation heroes, because when we do that, we make ourselves better, and collectively we make the world a better place. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. That was great. Really appreciate it.